change your habit and change your life. Human beings, we are so comfortable sometimes that we don't take action, we don't do different things. For example, right now, I'm here on my friend's boat, Jeremy Harbour. We just did a podcast talking about how to buy businesses without using money. And as I was interviewing him, I thought, how many times have I done things the same way over and over and over again? Here's the thing, I'm right here in Dubai. I've been meeting with all my friends, and every time I meet my friends, I'm always learning something new. Sometimes you think you know something, but you don't actually know it until you know it with the people around you. Give an example. I was speaking to a friend of mine, and she spends millions of dollars on marketing. She makes 100 million a year. And I said to her, I said, what are you doing that's producing over 100 million? And she told me, and I was like, that can't work. That can't possibly work. And the problem is, it's the habit of what we're not doing is what's not creating the results. So the key for all of you is you gotta make sure that you're changing the habit. So then the question is, how do you change the habit? First of all, just by doing it. So one thing I do is I notice when I'm snapping back into the habit. For example, my doctor said to me, John, you know, like we did a lot of these tests, you should really stop eating a lot of sugar. I don't know if any of you have a sweet tooth, but I love chocolate bars, I love rice, I love bread. And it's so hot. And I said to him, I found myself trying to convince my doctor to basically have sugar. And when I thought about why am I trying to convince him when this is the benefit of me? How many of you know what I'm talking about right now? That we have habits that is not producing the results that we want, and it's what we're not doing. I'll give an example. I sat down with another friend of mine, did another podcast. His name's Dan Henry. He sat down with a billionaire friend and he said, do you want to be rich? He said, of course I want to be rich. And then he says, well, how many books have you read about being rich? And he said, none. He said, well, you don't really want to be rich. As I was interviewing him and going through that process, I realized there's these different aha moments that we instinctively know what it is, but we don't do anything else to make anything different. And I think if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you want to achieve something different, it's not going to happen. You want to change the results, you must change the strategy. I want to invite you all to challenge all the things you do on a regular basis. I want you to write this down. What have you been saying that you want to do over and over and over again that you still haven't even begun to do? You've not even had the first step. Like I say, I want to learn Mandarin, but I can't want it that bad if I'm not at least learning one word a day. So by the way, if any of you know any like good Mandarin teachers and you can learn Mandarin really fast, let me know. I want to share this with you because I see too many people doing things, but they're not producing a result. When I look at habits, for example, if you want to get better shape, you should really be working at least 3 to 4 times for 120 minutes a day. I'm like, 120 minutes, that's like 2 hours. In my mind, I'm always thinking about taking that shortcut. Unfortunately, this is what causes procrastination. When we do things, we procrastinate because we get overwhelmed, we don't do stuff. And it's the habits that are formed that allow us to not do it. For example, how many people start their New Year's resolutions and then they give up by February? I know so many people who want to do that, but they're just not following through. And I think that's a simple thing. And it's interesting because when I sat down with Dr. Fadi, by the way, he's got an incredible clinic here in Dubai called Lifespan. You guys should check it out. He does health optimization. So I went to him and I said, look, I want to optimize my health. I want to have more energy. I want to stop feeling tired because, you know, I'm doing a lot of business. So I'm always like out and about. It's like back-to-back meetings. And he just said, John, I need to do 2 things. Promise me these 2 things. We did a little pinky promise on this. You guys holding me accountable. Cut out the chocolate, cut out the rice, cut out the bread, and just eat the proteins. And it's interesting because he was giving me all these different statistics. So habit is formed through daily actions, and also they are prompted by other things. If you've been struggling to kick a habit, maybe, I don't know, you smoke, maybe you drink, I don't know whatever habit that you have right now, if you want to break it, you have to be conscious that first of all, that you are doing it, and first of all, what has had to happen. I'll give you an example. So I'm really bad at this. When I am hungry, I don't know about you, but I just open up the app, order something. I always go straight to the junk food. I don't know why I do that. And I know it's so bad for you. I know a lot of you have done this as well. And I know a lot of you can relate to me as I talk about this. It's the habit of what you are not doing is what's not getting you to the result. Give you another example. Buying businesses. So the podcast I just did here on Jeremy's boat or yacht, this incredible yacht, by the way, you should check it out at the back. But when he talked about, actually, John, how you figured out to buy property without using any of your own money, he's also figured out a strategy on how to buy businesses. And he calls it the Weibo strategy, which is basically work in, earn out. So when you work in the business and you buy out that business, and it's incredible because you can go into a business, you can help that business. He's got this incredible software that you can actually put some details in and it spits out what these businesses need to change. And then you go and help the business with all these different changes. And then what you do, you then ask for a buyout. And he mentioned two things. By the way, I did a whole podcast masterclass on this. If you want to check it out, I'll link it around here somewhere. But he basically said, you need to make sure that you are doing what we call a management buyout. So if you have 20% of the company, the bank will give you 100% of the money to buy that business in some or most cases. If it's a leveraged buyout, it's kind of like a house. And he described it as getting a mortgage and then getting a deposit to put down. But the problem is most people don't have that deposit to put down in order to buy out. By the way, Jeremy has done over 100 IPOs, bought and sold 100 plus companies. He's got an incredible community. Actually, I'm going to introduce a lot of you to my mentors and teachers that really know how to play the next level game. That's why I'm sat here on his yacht, right? So let's come back to habits for a second. So if I come back to habits, the habit of what you're not doing is what's not getting you the result. So whether you want to start a business, whether you want to improve your personal relationships. I'll give an example. I have a friend of mine and she says to me, John, I want to find love in my life. I just asked her one question, this one little question. I said, you don't really want love. Why? How many dates have you been on? None. You get my point? Same with business. Or people say to me, John, I want to do what you do. I want to fly around the world. I want to speak on stages in front of thousands of people. I want to get paid to speak and get paid to travel the world to inspire people. And I say, well, how many videos have you recorded? None. How many speaking companies have you reached out to? None. I'm looking for incredible speakers, by the way. So if you are an incredible speaker, you have value that you want to give and you can impact people's lives, contact me at contact@johnlee.com. I'll leave some details below as well. But the reason I want to have this conversation with you is a really serious conversation, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over again, we're going to get the same result. That's why they say you can't solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created that problem in the first place. So you have to think differently. That's what I love about Apple. They have this saying is think differently. And sometimes we just have to reword things or reframe things in our mind in order to achieve something new. If you are stuck doing things every single day, you're not sure what to do, well, John, like I'm confused, I'm overwhelmed. Okay, pick one thing. Or as Dr. Shimoni says to me, pick two things, right? And these two things are the things that can really help, little steps, right? Every 1% increase that you increase every single day will help you grow and grow and grow. But the issue is that most of the times people are not willing to grow. They're not even willing to put the time in. Hang around with smart people. And people say, well, John, I don't have time. If you don't have time, you've got to make time. You need to carve out that time in your calendar. Here's what I want you to do. Things that you've been wanting to do right now, grab a pen and piece of paper or grab your phone, open up your Word document or your text file, and I want you to put in there what you want to do or what you say you're going to do but you still haven't done, and I want to put the date there. Why? Because when you put the date there, it becomes real. One thing I started doing recently is, I don't know if any of you do this, but journaling. If you are facing procrastination, you want to get everything out of your head and you want to brain dump it into some kind of journal. And you talk about what you want. Because when you put a thought out there, it becomes fluffy. When you put pen to paper, it becomes real. This is the whole story of Jim Carrey writing himself a check for $10 million for a film, and he would put that everywhere around his house. And eventually, one day, he gets a gig. I think it was a cable guy, got paid like $10 million to do that film. I'm telling you this because I really want to inspire you to action. The first thing that people always ask me, John, how do I create more wealth? So I teach a lot of people about wealth creation. You want to invest, you want to grow yourself. You are also your biggest asset, right? How much have you invested in yourself? It's not just wealth in terms of monetary, it's wealth in terms of your health, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your personal growth. Your business can only grow to as big as you can go. Your bank account can only grow to as big as the action that you take. The more action you take, the more money you make. I say this all the time. For example, yesterday I was at an investor dinner. A lot of the people around me were talking about longevity. So I always want to put myself into different situations. I don't want to have the same habits. Like before, I only just used to go to property conferences. And yes, I've built a multi-million-pound property portfolio, but I want to learn more than that. I want to grow up. If there's a habit of doing that one thing all the time, then I start learning more about Web3. Then I start getting into the investing in Web3. Then I start learning about social media and the creator economy. Then I start now learning about longevity. And now being here with Jeremy, talking about how do you buy businesses without using your own money. Now, by the way, we're going to launch this podcast pretty soon, so you can check it out. If any of you, like you're in a job, but you don't like your job, or in a business, but you don't really like the risks of business, the risks of overheads and things like that, guess what? There's somewhere in the middle, and that's what Jeremy calls WIBO, work in buyout. This is one thing you can do as an employee, by the way, to be able to add value to people's lives, take a percentage and take a recurring revenue, or what we call a retainer. So this is some of the things that I really want you to start thinking about, because ultimately it will change your life if you change your habits. Remember, change your habits, change your life. I feel like that. Has anyone seen Heroes before? Save the cheerleader, save the world. This is change your habits, change your life. By the way, if you've got any questions, if you have any thoughts, you're like, John, I really need some advice on this, leave a comment below. I'll personally come into the comments and I'll give you as much support and coaching as I can in the comments. Do me a favor, I love to create this content because I really want to make an impact to people's lives, and I really hope you can feel that. If you know somebody right now who keeps saying that they're gonna do something, but they don't never ever do it, and they don't even show any signs of doing that, please share this with them on WhatsApp, share this with them on social media. Click that share button and share it with them, because here's the thing, when you change one person's life, you start changing other people's lives as well. And I really want you to start making sure that you're always doing that. The amount of money that's in your bank account is in direct proportion to everybody else. I want you to just make those little changes. And I have my MD here as well, and she keeps drilling on me, build brand, build brand, build brand, build brand. I'm like, no, business, 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 business. And it's interesting because we sat down with my good friend today, Kavit, who works very closely as business partners with Jay. And Jay and Kavit are both friends of mine. When I heard him kind of reinforce, and all these people reinforcing the things that she's saying, I'm like, maybe I do need to start thinking different. Maybe I am in the habit of not doing or being stubborn and refusing to change. But those habits, you have to move an inch at a time. You can't just make one big leap from here to here. This is not 0 to 1. This is 0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 0.10. And 10 is, of course, the 1. But to make that switch, you got to make sure that you are, first of all, being aware of what that habit is. Second of all, consistently changing that habit a bit, and 1 or 2 or 3% of the time. And the third thing that I think, if you really, really want to make a sustainable change, there has to be a very powerful reason. I always say that wealth is health and health is wealth. And I can tell you, throughout the last 20 years of being in business, it's always been about business. It's always been about entrepreneurship. And unfortunately, I don't know if any of you are very passionate about what you do. You become like a workaholic in your business because it's a passion. It's something that you love to do. You know, over the years, I've been putting a little bit more weight. You know, my energy is still okay. But imagine if that was like 1,000% optimum. You can optimize your health. That's why if any of you are in Dubai, you got to check out HealthSpan. That Shmoney is incredible. Like you should see the technology. They can take a picture of your face, and the one picture of your face can tell you, do you have any diseases that are happening or brewing? Because he was saying for people who get diabetes, it kind of festers for 10 years and then it shows itself. Again, if you're in Dubai, even if you're not in Dubai, fly over. I promise you, it's gonna blow you out. I'll actually create a video. So I did a whole sort of mini documentary on the stuff that I've been doing there. So I've been doing my Vox Max, which is actually above my age, which I was quite happy about. But again, that's a habit of what I'm not doing. I'm not optimizing my health. I say I want to be healthy, but I'm not optimizing it. I just want you all to think about what are the things that you are not doing and the habits that you are doing to get there. One of my coaches, Dina, she said to me, John, when you go to the new level, it's not only a new devil. Let me say this again. When you go to the new level, it's also the old devils that hold you back. It's the old devils that pull you down. It's the old devils that stop you from moving forward. It's the old devil that when you're moving forward, you're dragging this big sack on your back. So I want to help a lot of you break those patterns and just do it. You heard Nike say, just do it, right? But when you say just do it, be conscious of the habit that is stopping you from doing it. And a lot of you know what that is. I know you do. Really hope you found this useful. I'll link a video here now for those of you, if you want to learn how to start a profitable business, you want to more passive forms of income, or you want to create more wealth, because I teach a lot of people about wealth creation, business wealth creation, and go and check that out. Share this with people. Hit the subscribe button as well. That means so much to me. It just means that you've seen this and you've heard this message and you resonate with this message. If you hit the like button, that'll be incredible. So thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Check out this video here as well.